Yeah, I just wanted to say something. Um, I notice like whenever I do a live, I'm cut off because these things on social media. Whenever you say things that exposes the whole picture of what is going on, they shadow ban you. They done that even on Facebook. I was not able to do live videos. Whenever you say things and they're starting to make sense and you connect two and two together, they start to block you. They start to shadow ban you and frustrate you. So one of the things you experience is that whenever you have a live, it's cut off because they don't want you to break down things that are happening. So I wanted to use a live video because I wanted to show you also sections of books that I wanted you to see, because these things that are being confessed, they are well explained. So when you see the testimonies of people who were Satanists, people who were deep in darkness, people who did deliverance, people who were in this realm, and they are explaining to you what happened, what they used to do, you will now understand that everything is connected. You also understand that politicians, those people who are pastors and preachers and prophets, and then the bankers and the media moguls, and those people who are the business elites and into tenders and everything, these people are all belonging to same demonic diabolical cults. That's why they exhibit the same behavior where they exploit young men and women for power. Behind all this, there are secret rituals, there are secret societies, they are involved in things that are diabolical. So if you don't understand that, you think this pastor, what he's doing is isolated. No, most of them, they are doing exactly the same because they are working for Satan through secret society. They're involved in Freemason rituals and demonic cults where they meet as politicians, where they meet with others as part of the same demonic cult. They go even to other countries on vacations, on business trips, but on these trips they are doing rituals and they are destroying lives. So I want to play, and you understand that they are the ones who go, they fish women and men, young men and women who are ambitious. They fish them from colleges. So this also involved these disc jockeys, the DJs. They, like in this confession, this woman was introduced to this lifestyle by a friend of hers who was dating popular DJ, and she went to parties of popular DJs. And then when she went to that place, she started to date someone who scouts for upcoming DJs whom they can make popular DJs, and they will take them to higher levels. But these people, the way they were scouted, they look at someone with potential, then they take them to these parties where they now get into demonic rituals. Like now, there's a certain thing that is viral on YouTube where the title is, I wish I had never gone to that party. This is about a young YouTuber who, with his friends, they were invited to this upmarket place for a party, and then they were so happy, and someone whom they may try to warn them that if they go to this party, they will never be the same. But this person, because he was very interested, he thought it is a big opportunity of a lifetime, because everyone who had gone to that party, they become viral, they become a big deal, they become even. So he decided to ignore this person who was trying to warn him. But when he went to that party, he noticed the way they were being treated. At first, they treat you like you are special. Those celebrities and people who are popular, they were treating them like very nicely, and they were wearing masks and everything. And it seemed like fun when it started. But as they go deeper into the party and other rooms, there were obscenities that were done. It started with them being in a party, in the party where they were being showered with love. They felt like, oh, they are special. These, their favorite celebrities were very interested in them. Then when they get to the next room, they notice now there was food, but now the way the food was eaten, it was the most delicious food that they would dream of. But the way this food was eaten, so it was to make them indulge. First it starts with love and affection, and people are just liking them. Then the next thing, they are taken into a room where they are made to, to indulge in gluttony. And they started to eat, food. Remember, greed, where we talked about the 4 things that this person was talking about, was saying there are, the manipulations that are used on a man. They use 4 things. They use food, sex, and what else? There were 4 that they use. Fighting, strife, and they also use... just hold on. Let me just get to that. So these things, they are used they start with food, and people will be like, oh my God, this, you feel like... So for me, I don't even eat food prepared by a person I don't know. I don't, even in restaurants, I don't just go to any restaurant, because most of them, they are cooking food with water that is used to wash dead bodies. And most people, because they are not prayerful, they are being initiated through food. Their destiny and enslavement is being done through food. And they wonder why after they eat certain food, they become. So when you go on a fast, you can actually overcome, because the devil uses food, sex, sleep, and fight to destroy you. So now if you can tell, like, these people were taken to a party where they were put in a place where they were supposed to eat food. And when they were eating this food, they started to notice that something was happening. So it was like slowly are being indulged in the vices that destroy you, but in a way to promote, because they are tempting you, and then they want to promote greed in you. They are using your obsession with food to dampen your senses, so that you can be carried away. And then the next thing, they're taking you in a room where you're flirting, people are just being vulgar, and then they take you in another room where they so slowly it starts slowly. So if you go on that video which says, I wish I'd never gone to that party. For me, I met people who were family members of in Africa and other countries, who were used in these parties as children. They were sexually abused in these parties. You see the same even with Mariah Carey's sister, talking about the experiences she went through. But now for years she became a prostitute and a junkie. But Mariah Carey went through the same thing. She became a superstar. But what she's just a sex slave. She is being used now. She managed to overcome. She was initiated successfully. And you see, even politicians, they go through that initiation. So if you understand these things, you will now connect and notice how the initiation is done. So this woman was already an escort. So let me play so that you can listen. I want to start again so that... Okay, here.
When I looked at my boyfriend as he was busy mixing the music, and when I looked at this old guy who was a black, God a lot. So my mom, she used to...
Okay,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? So my brother, I grew up in an area in Tembisa. When I was growing up, Brother Nash, I can say that life was very difficult. But as for my mom is a Christian woman who loves God a lot. So my mom she used to follow this other popular African pastor, and it pains me a lot. And I can't even tell my mom that this prophet that she calls the man of God is not even a man of God. And I never thought that one day I was going to end up in bed with this very popular African pastor. But here is my story. After matric, when I was in university, I then started having friends. So this friend of mine, she used to go to a lot of clubs, and she will be dating these DJs, a lot of famous DJs that are well known here in South Africa. She was dating them. So since she was dating a DJ, whenever the guy will be invited at a party where he was supposed to go and DJ, then my friend will go there. Then she ended up going with me to these VIP clubs as well. I then started to date this guy who was like a scouting agent. He would go around visiting a lot of clubs in Pretoria so that he can scout out for young talented DJs so that he can uplift them. So I was really exposed to that nightlife. And one day, this guy called me, my boyfriend, and he told me that he had been invited by this other guy who is like a very big guy. He is into these tender businesses. This guy that invited him, he was having a all-white party. So he said, I want to go with you. And at that party, he had this other young, talented DJ whom was going to play there for the first time. So we went there. As for my scouting agent boyfriend, he was busy with his young talent, coaching him as they were busy doing their stuff there by the music. By that, as they were busy doing their stuff, playing the music. So I was all alone, and I was really feeling lonely. Then there was this other old guy who came, and when I looked at him, you know, when someone has money, the moment that you look at them, you can see that this person is loaded. And this guy, he then started to talk to me, and I got interested into him. And when I looked at my boyfriend as he was busy mixing the music, and when I looked at this old guy who was a blesser, who wanted to be my blesser, I said, young girl, this is the time for you to make the correct decision, because the challenge that me and my boyfriend had been facing, you know, these guys that are DJs, they are always having a lot of young women that are willing to date them. So whenever I would ask money from him, he would then tell me that this is the problem when you date a poor girl. All that they think about is money, and when they look at you, they think that you are actually their ATM instead of doing 50-50. So I said, to hell with his 50-50. It is far much better that I date this guy who seems to be very wealthy. When I agreed to date that guy, he then said that let us find another spot where we can go and hang out. We then went out, then we went to another place where we ended up making love. When the morning came, I then took my phone, and as I was going through my phone, I saw that the guy, my boyfriend, he had been sending a lot of message. He was angry at me, and I didn't even care. I then told him that I had found someone who was willing to treat me better, so he can just go his way and I'll go my own way. I was going to give him some time so that he can enjoy with his several girlfriends. I didn't want to be his side chick, so we didn't. So me and that guy, that was when we stopped seeing each other. I was now like an escort to this rich blesser of mine. So this guy, he has a lot of shares, a lot of hotels here in South Africa as well as in Southern Africa. He has a lot of shares. Whenever we would go out, this guy, I would see him hanging around politicians. Then there was a time when he told me that we were supposed to go on a vacation. We went there because it was sort of like a business meeting. They wanted to do a project together, so they just wanted to get the details at that vacation. Then there was one politician, and this politician, he said that I was not supposed to be seen. He then said that since this politician was the one who was going to give them this deal, this man loved his wife a lot and he hated to do deals with men that cheat on their wives. So he said, we need to avoid by all means this man. He is not supposed to see you with me. So whilst we were there, I was all alone, feeling really lonely as he was going around doing his business. So there was this other day when I was just chilling by the poolside. Whilst I was chilling by the poolside, I then saw that there was this other guy who was a familiar face, but I could not just picture the face where I had seen him. But this guy, what got me interested into him was that wherever you will be at, he always had this entourage of bodybuilders that were his bodyguards, and it was kind of like interesting. So I said maybe he's an African prince, or maybe he's the son of an African president, but he was not South African, that I could tell. So whilst I was just chilling by the poolside, he also came and he sat, but he was just looking at me. Then when he left, one of his bodyguards came. He was wearing this nice swimming wear, and I got interested. He really had a handsome body. He got onto the water later on after swimming just for a couple of minutes. He came to the place where I was. He then spoke with me. Oh, that was a great joy, because this guy, the body man, was really great. He spoke with me, and I told him that I was all alone. Later on, whilst we were having a conversation, I told him that I was heartbroken, and he said that he was going to come and visit me to my place. And when he told me that he was going to come to the room where I was, I then took one of my lingerie, the one that I wanted to wear, so as to impress my blesser, and I was waiting for him whilst I was kneeling on the bed, waiting to seduce him, but he could not get into the room and to be with me. He said that since he's just a bodyguard, he had been sent by his boss, and at that time, this blesser of mine, like what he always does when we were on a vacation, if he would come across a very beautiful woman, he would choose to dump me and go and sleep with that woman. Well, what had happened at that place where we were having our vacation, there was this other beautiful Latino woman, so he got interested and they went, and I knew that they were sleeping together. This guy that I was dating, the blesser, I knew that he does not love a woman who is always on his case. I kept on sending him messages because he told me that this is what his wife does, asking him where he was, when was he coming to my room, and he continued to blue tick me, and I knew that I was going to be free for that night because I had made him angry. I then went into that room where I So I then took the keys that the bodyguard had given me, and I searched for the room. And then when I got into that room, that was when I found out that this guy who was waiting for me in that room, it was that same famous African pastor that my mom was always watching on this other God channel. And when I told him that I cannot be with him because he was a holy man of God, because I believed in all of the miracles that he had performed, we used to watch this guy on TV. So I was scared of being with the man of God, doing this thing that was quite evil, sleeping with him. But he continued to invite.
Do you see something really happening here? This lady's mother was a Christian who followed this same false prophet. Because she was following this false prophet, she was connected to the demons from this false prophet's altar, and the demons followed even her children. That's why many Christian women who follow and men who follow false prophets, their children become sexually immoral. Because when this person who is a false prophet is laying hands on you, he is imparting demons, because laying hands is a way of transferring demons. And now when you go home, even though you are prayerful, your children become wild, because the spirits that are operating through your children, they are from these demonic shrines and cows where these false prophets belong to. So the miracles that they are doing, they are only able to do them from from taking the life virtues and gifts of those women, young women he sleeps with. So that's how he gets powers from underwater. The demons and entities that they say from underwater, they send them to kill, steal, and destroy. And they do these rituals. And when they do these rituals, they take the destiny of these young girls. And it is from their gifts that are not, they don't know they have gifts, so their gifts are captured. And when the gifts are captured, these are these gifts are used to perform false miracles and wonders. But the miracles and wonders, as they are performed, they may look real and genuine. Sometimes those prophets, those gifts and healings are actually genuine, depending on how well they do their rituals and how powerful they do whatever they do. So they are real, but and when they are done, whoever receives those miracles, the same spirits of sexual immorality, demonic possessions, and whatever demons that this false prophet follows, they follow that person and the people in their family. So if you look now, this lady was connected, and she was connected when she was at a universities where the friend was involved with disc jockeys, DJs, who are into this business of scouting for other new upcoming DJs, and then they take them to initiate them. So the scouting agent is looking for who to initiate when he goes club to club. Nightlife and clubs are places where people are initiated in satanic cults. These nightclubs are used for initiations, and they are altars for the devil. The owners are mostly involved in these satanic cults and secret societies where they do rituals such that whoever come to their clubs, they are captured, they are trapped, lives are destroyed. So they are used, the clubs are used, and all these things that they call the all-white parties are used for sex and human trafficking. They are used for satanic rituals where they do diabolical things like sodomizing people, gang raping, and even killing people. And then they even eat dead, they even drink human blood and other vices. So do you see also how this woman came from just being a college girl to become a prostitute, a total party animal, and a person without a conscience? Like when she met an old man, she quickly dumped at a party where another man took her. She quickly dumped that man and took another man and even left. And then that same man later did the same to him because she was looking for money. So once you start the nightlife, you become an animal, a party animal. You look at what Moana was. She became an animal. It's difficult to control. And she started to live a life without a conscience. So this lady was actually an escort for rich men. They organized vacations where they took her, but these vacations were also business meetings where they were involved in sex rituals. The politician who was involved in a meeting was involved also in this meeting and vacation. And politicians are interested in their image, so they will have special conditions which they may want, and they don't want people to openly do their diabolical things because for them their image is very important. You have to do it, but don't do it openly so that they continue to have a good image. So, but also this was a lie because this man, this was an excuse for him to have sex with many other women at that party. So he wanted to have freedom to have many other women to do sex rituals. While there, this woman saw a man who had very handsome young men as bodyguards. This man, who was a false prophet, was looking at her, false pastor, and he didn't say anything to her. And then after he left, but he was looking at her. After he left, that's when his bodyguard went and started to talk to this woman and got information about her, whether she was vulnerable or not, whether she was going to accept this man or not. And this bodyguard did not say anything. So these false prophets, they use other younger men to pimp women to them. They use this man to seduce women to them. And then when the woman is seduced, instead of them sleeping with that man, they take to their boss, to their pastor, to their prophet. And they are also involved in these demonic rituals, and they're getting a lot of money. So it's all like sex trafficking network. The bodyguards are pimps used to fish for young women. And this false prophet have a strategy. They don't talk to these women in public, but send these attractive younger men. And then now when you are, there will be no evidence. They don't do it so openly. So it's only when she was given the keys and when she was seducing this man that this man told him, me, I'm just a bodyguard, but my boss is the one who sent me. So that's when everything he was doing like he is the one who is in love with her. So that's how they do it. Satanic cults, it's satanic rituals, and they have like a covenant with these bodyguards where they believe in this pastor like a god. So let's go ahead. Let me just rewind just 10 seconds. Yeah.
We used to watch this guy doing this thing that was quite evil, sleeping with him, but he continued to invite me into his bed. I was still nervous, but he did something, Brother Nashi. When I got into the bed with him, he had this purple ring that he inserted on his finger. This purple ring, it had something that looked like an emerald that was round shaped. So this emerald that was on top of this strange ring, he could actually roll it over with his finger. He kept on rolling it, and then I started to fall asleep. I had never felt so sleepy in my life. When I would wake up, I would find out that this guy would be busy making love to me until I finally woke up. When I woke up, Brother Nashi,
do you see these people? They have powers to make you fall into a deep sleep. Isn't this the same strategy done by Kudakwashe Jose, where he is making people fall into a deep sleep and he reveals things to them? Isn't this is actually an occultic principle which they are doing? It from under the water, where a person does things to make you fall into a deep sleep, or they make you see things that are spiritual using, in a certain place like Abraham's tent, like Paul Miracle does, like where they do spiritual spectacles like T. Freddy. This is the same technology of the marine kingdom used by the white garment and red garment churches, used by even the witch doctors, where they can make you see you in a mirror, where they can make you see in water, where they can make you see on a cloth, on a white cloth or a red cloth. This is an occultic principle for opening your spiritual eyes, but they are initiating you into an occult, into the black magic using demonic powers. So they open you to demons, and because you are open like that, you will notice your life is never the same. So this thing where a ring was used and is just turning the ring and a person falls into a deep sleep, it's from the underworld, it's from the marine kingdom, it's satanism that is being done in churches. I hope you understand that.
Ring, he could actually roll it over with his finger. He kept on rolling it, and then I started to fall asleep. I had never felt so sleepy in my life. When I would wake up, I would find out that this guy will be busy making love to me until I finally woke up. When I woke up, Brother Nashi, I then found out that this guy, he was dragging me to another dimension. This guy, he had a chain that was around my neck, and he was dragging.
So do you see here, whilst they were making love, something was done to her. She was falling in and out of consciousness. This pastor made love to her when she's not conscious. These are actually rituals where people do these things to control, to control other people and to enslave them and to take their souls to the underworld. So when she saw herself, she was awake and saw the pastor dragging her like a dog. I remember I once talked about this thing where people are made to do rituals where they are barking like a dog, where they are made to eat their own feces or other people's poop. It's because they are making you a dog. They are taking your soul. And when your soul is taken, you don't have free will. You start to live like a dog that does not have a conscience. You notice even that lady was called Michelle Amuli. When she was taken to Dubai, they did this sort of rituals, and she was living with the judge. After that, the judge chased her from her house. You also notice that same Michelle Amuli was sleeping with Ed Branson, who calls himself a prophet, but he is just a Satanist masquerading as a prophet. That same Michelle Amuli was living in with a judge. A person who's supposed to serve justice in a nation, in a country, was living with a person who is a sex slave in his own house. And after this person, Michelle Amuli, left Dubai, she knew the rituals that were done on her was extreme. And she knew she was now like an animal. She could do anything. That's why he chased her from his house. So these things are real.
Me as if I was a dog. We kept sleeping in my life. When I would wake up, I would find out that this guy will be busy making love to me until I finally woke up. When I woke up, Brother Nashi, I then found out that this guy, he was dragging me to another dimension. This guy, he had a chain that was around my neck, and he was dragging me as if I was a dog. We kept on going into that dimension, moving from this world, and we had to pass through this land that was filled with water. Whilst we were passing through that land that was full of water, that was when we saw this goddess. This goddess is still very confusing to me because her upper body, she had the body of a woman, and her body from the waist going down, you could see that this goddess or god had the body of a man. Even the face, she was not beautiful, but she was handsome, so attractive at the same time. She then came to the place where we were as that pastor was dragging me. She then asked the pastor where he was taking me to. Then the pastor told that goddess that he was going to leave me in a place where I was going to die. So what was happening, Brother Nash, is that slowly as I was fast asleep, this pastor, he was actually killing me. I was supposed to die on that night. But that goddess then said, such a beauty, we cannot waste such a beautiful young woman. Then they continued talking until they made a deal. So the deal that they made is that this goddess came to the place where I was. She lifted me and she placed me on this rock. When she had placed me on that rock, she then pushed her hand into my private parts and she pulled out my womb. Then this goddess inserted her private parts. Mind you, this goddess, like I told you, from waist going down, the goddess had the body of a man. The goddess had a manhood. As the goddess was holding my womb in her hand, she started to make love to me like she was masturbating herself until the goddess had ejaculated. Then she pushed my womb back into my stomach. So the curse that was placed in my womb, it goes on like this. They gave me a second chance to live, but this second chance, it comes at a price. Any man that I sleep with, Brother Nashi, I curse that man. I then drag that man to the dark world. Their soul is going to be harvested by this goddess, meaning that the person, when the person dies, will belong to the devil himself. This is the deal that they gave me. When I woke up, this pastor was nowhere to be seen. The bodyguard then came, and when the bodyguard came, told me that the pastor had said that he was going to give me 37,000 rands. So I got scared. I said, this money, how am I going to take it back home? Because we were supposed to pass.
Okay, so now you see this pastor, he slept with her, but he had to first do something to make her unconscious or fall in and out of unconsciousness, and he was sleeping with her. But if you look at this, this lady was seeing herself having sex with the pastor in the spirit, because the pastor is not the one, he uses other things to sleep with this. Probably there was a snake that was there, or a spirit that was sleeping with her. That's why she was seeing things that were happening to her. That's why there was a lot that she was seeing, and she saw herself being dragged and chained like a dog and dragged somewhere to the underworld. There are some realms which are used for where people are enslaved whilst they are alive. Most people who you see here who are in satanic cults, they belong to such realm. Most people who you see who are prostitutes, they are blind. They are blind witches who are also in that prison. So there are actually prisons which are there where when you get initiated into these things, your soul is captured until you die. And even after you die, because you're dying prematurely, you can now become a slave for the underworld. That's what is happening. So you need to understand that these things are real. The manipulations, everything that is happening right now, witchcraft manipulation. So I want to read, there is this book I was showing you. I'll put the title in the what do you call it? I'll put the title in the description. So there is this saying on chapter 2. There is what is called, the subtitle is Witchcraft Prison. There is what is called blind witch, which is the lowest level of all operations of witches. The blind witches, in essence, are those who are in witchcraft prison, and they may include men, women, children, and boys and girls who had received the mark of destruction of the witchcraft spirit. In other words, a blind witch is one who is nothing but a mere playground for witchcraft experiments and manipulation. To this end, a blind witch will not know himself to be a witch. Neither will he or she operate consciously as a witch. He is only a slave of the prison of witchcraft. Consequently, if one had received the mark of destruction of blind witchcraft upon himself, it means that all days of his life on earth would be subjected to their control, except when they are delivered by our Lord Jesus Christ. Indeed, there are millions of blind witches on earth today who are living inside the witchcraft prison spiritually. For one to receive the mark of destruction of the spirit of witchcraft, he has to first of all undergo what is called blind initiation. This is a process of manipulation by which a person is spiritually plunged into the detention camp of witches and wizards. So please note, whenever I speak of witchcraft or witches, I also mean both witches and wizards. There are many ways blind initiation. There are many ways through one could undergo blind initiation into witchcraft prison. For instance, a witch could set the mark of destruction upon those under his manipulation, consequently initiating them in this regard through food. Furthermore, one can receive blind initiation or the mark of destruction through any of the following manipulation: by sexual intercourse, with physically or in a dream; by eating food in a dream, especially meat, fish, fried rice, or cola nut in a dream; by smoking cigar or drinking alcohol, both physically and in a dream; by visiting a fortune teller or a false prophet, or the so-called healing through occult powers, or reading occult books. So these are the ways. By laying hands, you can be initiated as a blind witchcraft, and this is what is happening to many people who are led by false prophets and false pastors, or people who took powers from demonic kingdom. Most of the people in Zayoja, they're initiated. Most of the people who go even to the church, Covenant Life Ministries, they're initiated. That is led by Tudor Bismarck. Most of the people who follow Mountain of Fire Ministries by Olukuya, they are led to witchcraft, because if you read, even the most powerful Satanists are in these churches. I had a powerful Satanist who tried to initiate me, and when I went to a house, you know, she even sold to me the books by Daniel Olekuya. And after she sold those books, my house was defiled and witches could get into my house. So be very careful. Daniel Olekuya, and you know, the likes of these people may preach about witchcraft, yet they are the biggest people in witchcraft. They destroy destiny. Look at Makandiwa. He preaches about witchcraft, but then he takes money from poor people, enslaving people, and building mansions and making a business empire. Walter Magai is a Satanist, initiating people into witchcraft and Satanism. But whilst they are doing these things, you look at Magaya, Mountain of Fire Ministry, Daniel Olokuya, you look at T.B. Joshua, you look at even T. Freddy, the people who work for them in their businesses, they are working for them as volunteers. They are not paid. These are qualified people taken from well-paying jobs and training and education, and then reduced to work for them for free. They run, you go even to Magaya's place where he runs, whatever he runs, those PhD, you know, the guest house, there are many boutiques and other things that he's selling there. Those people who are selling at those places, they are getting nothing. They are not getting paid. They are volunteers. They are told they are doing the work for the Lord. Why are they not being paid? Because He has enslaved them. He is destroying their destiny. He is a destiny destroyer. The same with Daniel Olekuya. On Mountain of Fire, the things, while he's making real money, he's telling you that these people are doing for the Lord, stopping even their marriage, delaying even when you leave these scouts like Magaya Scout, Makandiwa Scout, T.B. Joshua Scout, and even any scout, even you notice marriage is a problem. You don't easily get married. Or if you get married, you cannot have a child. Your life is that of a struggle because you were initiated to a cult. The Satan is leading you was masquerading as a man of God, but he is just a wizard. And anyone under them, they are used and destroyed because they are doing the assignment of their father, the devil, to kill, steal, and destroy. That's why most of the people, when they live, even after living, unless they receive Christ, they continue to suffer, and even their children, it will be worse. You look at people who go to Sayoja, their life, it's very painful, yet they are religious. You look at people going to Mountain of Fire Ministries, it's very painful. In these churches, while they are working as the workers in church, their destinies are destroyed. People work for T.B. Joshua. Fortunately, I hope people who are victims of Andina Wangu Guti will also experience the freedom that those of T.B. Joshua experienced. Because we noticed people who went to his church as teenagers, people who went in their early 20s, they were made to work in the church, they never got married. Someone who joined when he was 40 was called Racine. He never got married, but only for them to get married after T.B. Joshua died. Even you look at Vlad Savchuk, who leads the Hungry Generation Church, the church that was started by people who visited the shrines to seek power of God in Nigeria, where they went to T.B. Joshua, and T.B. Joshua sent people. These were refugees in the United States, and then they went and helped them to plant the church using demonic powers. So Vlad Savchuk is using demonic powers. He has never renounced them, and even the following and the influence is of the demonic powers. That's why he was still praising T.B. Joshua. And even he was the one who helped. He was saying he's the one who helped him start the Emmanuel TV YouTube channel, because he is of the same demonic spirit. While he's preaching about righteousness, the powers he's using are demonic. He took them from T.B. Joshua, and T.B. Joshua was getting them from sleeping with young girls, from demonic manipulation and destroying lives. And all those lives, people who were not getting married, was because the altar he was serving did not allow them to get married. So it's only when he died that even Vlad managed to have a child. It's only after he died that even Racine married at the age of 65. Imagine a person only starting to be free when a person dies. That's real enslavement. And these are the things done. The thing where this person was dragged to the underworld, it is real. So you must pay attention and be led by the Spirit. If you dream of yourself in some cage or in some place where you're struggling to breathe or tied or you are locked and you're being watched, you are in the underworld. You are a blind witch used as a slave. So I want to talk about, in the next part, I'll talk about the certain people that I experienced who were blind witches, who attempted assignments in my life and what I saw about their lives and God revealed to me.